But just to kind of help you know that um, when you see the thing up there and you see the dates and you see a trip level 4, E3, I want to explain that just a little bit. Acts 1:8 is our commission, as well as Matthew 28, 19 and 20, to go forth into all the world and share the gospel. In Acts 1:8 it says, go into Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and all the ends of the earth. And so when we talk about missions, there's kind of different levels. Jerusalem would be like if we went on a mission trip here in Elizabethtown. And a lot of you have participated in things that we've done in each town. And Judea would be if we were doing a mission trip in Kentucky, like if we were going to eastern Kentucky or somewhere else in our state. Samaria would be like going maybe to somewhere they're part of our country, like maybe going to down inner city Chicago. And it would be a place that we are, not accustomed to. They may speak the same language we do, but they're not like us. We're very different. And then ends of the earth would be going out into other countries that speak a different language, have a totally different culture. And then the E part is an evangelism indicator. How evangelistic are these people that we are ministering to? So an E1 level would be like people that speak the same language we do. They're a lot like us. They're very receptive to the gospel. And E2 might be that we would be within our own country, but it might be that they would not, be so receptive to the gospel here in America. And then an E3 would be like going to another country, totally different culture. You do not speak the language, and sometimes it can even be that they're very hostile. So an E4 would be like hostile to the gospel. They're hostile to Christians, so it might not be the safest country in the world to go in. So when we talk about this being a level 4, a level 4 would be that we're going to the ends of the earth. We're going to another country. And the E3 level is that they speak a different language than we do, and they are a different culture than we are, but they are receptive. We can go there and receive the gospel or share the gospel with them. So just keeping that in mind, this is not going to be your typical run-of-the-mill, sign up for a mission trip and yay, let's go. I mean, there are going to be some things that we really need to prepare ourselves for as we go to El Salvador. And so I'm going to let Daniel do that with his video and kind of give you a little introduction to that.
Hey guys, really glad you guys are considering coming down to El Salvador for a mission trip opportunity. I just want to stress that this is going to be a great time for you if you come ready and prepared to see what God has for you to do. Just keep in mind that this trip is not just going to be you serving the people of El Salvador and helping them out. You are going to do that, but this is also going to be a time for God to move in your life, to bring to light maybe some issues that you've been dealing with or things like that. I would just really encourage you to spiritually prepare yourself before coming down here in these months prior to your arrival. The more preparation you can do, the better your experience is going to be here. It's going to be a lot of work. Each day is going to be pretty packed. You're going to be going from 7:30 in the morning till 9 at night. Not all work, but you're going to be doing something during this whole time. So this week is going to be kind of intense. I would just really like for you guys to really consider the preparation end of this, just putting all this work into the front end. So that you can be ready to go all out when you get here. Things here are a little different in El Salvador. There's more, maybe not more spiritual battle, but it's definitely more evident in day to day. There's just very evident spiritual attacks that come here on our ministry because we're trying to do what we feel God is calling us to do, and Satan doesn't want that to happen. So. To be very spiritually prepared and aware, just to have that connection with Christ that you can always rely on Him to get through the battles that you're going to face when you get down here. I would just really appreciate if you guys really take that to heart and and really come through on that end so that you can have the best experience that you can down here and help our ministry out the most effectively. So thanks. Hope you guys have a good meeting.
We'll be here one Sunday, December the 28th. And so we will have a meeting that night and to plan, because he may be able to share more with us culturally and some other things that we can put together and utilize his being here. I know that's a bad time. Some of you may be out of town for vacations or visiting family for Christmas, but we will plan to videotape that and as such too, in case there are those. But I wanted to take advantage of the fact that he was here and he could share personally some of the things. If you haven't looked at your map, El Salvador is in Central America. So if you look down below California where Mexico is, then Mexico kind of borders Honduras and Guatemala, and then El Salvador is kind of like right under that, and then Honduras is right above that, and Nicaragua is to the other side. It is the smallest country in Central America, and it is the only country in Central America that doesn't border both the Atlantic and the Pacific, so it's just on the Pacific Ocean. It's about the size of Massachusetts, if that helps you to know what the size of it is. And we will be in San Salvador, which is right smack in the middle of El Salvador, probably about 100 miles from the ocean. Estimated cost, this is probably the biggie that everybody's looking at. It's going to be approximately $1,500. I can't tell you exactly what it's going to be because there's some factors involved. Daniel's ticket to come home costs about $704. I've already looked at ticket prices for July the 4th through the 11th, and it is about the same thing. That could go down in time, it could go up. So I'm estimating that our tickets could be between $700 and $800. So, you know, it could change and fluctuate with there. Envision's fee is $640. And that is a set fee. And that Envision fee that we will pay them will cover all of our meals for the week, our housing. We will stay at the mission center where Daniel actually lives. And Jody and David are also have been there. They may have some, we've got some pictures we can share, but I'm not doing all that today. I'm just kind of giving you the facts. But there's basically 2 rooms, and they're right next door to each other, and the women stay in one, and the men stay in the other. And then there's one shower room, and they have a sign on the door, and you flip the sign for when the ladies have got the run of the shower room, and you flip it for when the men have the run of the shower room. So we're all going to be in very, very close corners as we live there. There are bunk beds. They're 3 high up to the ceiling. They're very close together. Very thin mattresses, and that's where we're going to be staying. And they have lots of fans. There's no air conditioning in there, but they have a lot of fans, those little personal fans kind of on the edge of the bed. And so you're going to see extension cords going everywhere, and that might freak you out, but I mean, they don't have the standards that we probably do here in Elizabethtown or in America about those kind of things. But we have been there, and the Engels have been there, and we've made it back, and we came back safe and sound. You also have all your, as I said, all your meals that will be prepared for us. We will be asked to help with that, like helping with the preparation, cleaning up, and those kind of things. But they do have a cook that's there and fixes the meals. They will have some American food. They will have a night where they'll do like a breakfast or a lunch or a dinner that will be more Salvadoran style. So we'll get a little taste of that. 2 snacks a day, water, and we can't stress enough that you do not drink the water down there at all. You don't even use the water to brush your teeth with unless you're accustomed to that. So that's really, and you've had to experience that in a third world country as well. I wouldn't say El Salvador is a third world country by any means because we're going to be in a city, but we do not drink the water there, and you will pay for it dearly if you make the mistake of doing that. So the water will be provided for us. Transportation, they'll have vans that we'll use to transport where we're going to be going. So in our insurance, and Kevin is checking on me for me to find out exactly what that insurance covers, because I've had some people ask about health insurance, and I'm not really sure. I know it's not trip insurance. Like if we get our airplane tickets, and you want to get trip insurance, like if something happens, you have a death in the family, you can't go, or deathly sick, you have to be put in the hospital, that kind of stuff with their airline tickets, that will be a separate cost. So the insurance will definitely be only what's going on with us when we're down there. Security guards, there will be an armed security guard outside the mission house where we live 24/7. And so they have to pay those security guards. They are employed from the police department there in South Florida. So that $1,500 is about what your Envision fee is going to be and your flight attendant or flight tickets are going to be. So those are the two major expenses with that $1,500. Then the personal expenses will come with whether or not you have a passport or not. It costs now, it cost us $100 to get our passports a few years ago. But I checked online a couple of days ago, and now the cost has gone to like $140 to get your passport. And then we'll have to pay for a travel card visa when we get to the country, get off the airplane, go through the thing. We'll have to pay like a $10 fee to get a stamp on our passport to say that we have permission to come into the country. Immunizations. There are no required immunizations in El Salvador, but there are some that are strongly encouraged that you get. And some of those include the typhoid shot and the hepatitis A and hepatitis B. You can decide whether you want those or not, but they are strongly encouraged by the CDC, the disease control people, about doing that in case something happens and you do end up, accidentally with the water or something with, our food is going to be prepared for us, so it will be taken care of really well, but there's always that outside kind of chance. And then you should definitely be up to date on all of your immunizations that you should have, even in our country. It's like your tetanus shot is very important that you have that. And just all those other flu shots and those kind of things. Meals in the airport, you'll be responsible for that. Baggage. Your first baggage is free, but we may have to take some extra baggage with us, like an extra suitcase or so, just to take down supplies that we will need for the mission. And that the cost for the second bag is going to be $40, but hopefully we're going to be doing enough fundraising that we could help with that if that's why you're doing it. No one really should be planning to take two suitcases for just themselves, okay? If we do an extra one,
In other words, no fashion.
Right. Yeah, and just, leave all your jewelry at home. You shouldn't even take any jewelry with you. You might, if girls have got earrings, you might just have something really, really plain and simple that you put in, but nothing flashy. You don't want anything to bring attention. And then spending money, you will not need a lot of spending money. Daniel did say something about we might go down to a market in the local, and you might want to buy something. Anything that you would use spending money would be your choice. It would not be because you have to have it. So, okay, who can go? First of all, it's we need to be a Christian, and we need to be a faithful attender of worship and Bible study. We have to have God's power in our life to do that. We have to be 18 years of age. Those 13 to 17 can be considered, but must be accompanied by the parent. Now, let me explain that a little bit more. Envision's limited minimum age is 13. So you have to be 13 in order to participate in an Envision trip. Okay? The missions committee of Northside is the one that determined that if someone goes under 17 years or under 18 years old, that they have to be accompanied by a parent. So I don't know how much that could be. We could look at that on an individual basis. The main thing is Envision wants somebody to be an adult, to be responsible for the person. So that those kind of things could be taken in consideration. But 13 is supposed to be the minimum age that anyone participates in the Envision. And again, I know Colin has been before. They might make an exception with that because he's been there before and participated. I can't tell you that, though. We would have to do that on an individual basis. We are only going to be able to take about 20 to 25 people. They're limited space down there, and we have the mission center. Like I said, they have one room for women and one room for the men, and so we can't just take down 40 or 50 people. I know Honduras just took a trip, and they took probably about 75 people on their trip, but that was a different situation, it was a different area, they had, did y'all stay in a hotel or some kind of mission center? But probably they had the accommodations to be able to do that. So we are not going to Holiday Inn, I can tell you that. I think I remember there being 2 little small mirrors about like that in the room where we get ready and sort of thing. So you're not going to be looking glamorous through the week. I'll probably pull my hair up in a ponytail most of the week to go through the heat and just not have to worry about styling it and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, Northside members will be considered first. And if there's people outside of our church, which I understand there's been some interest, but we feel like Northside should have the first opportunity with that. We will not be, I am not the one who's going to look at your applications and make the decision about whether you get to be one of the 20 that get to go. This will be handled with the missions committee, and they'll be reviewing the applications, and we'll be doing that as a team effort. It's not something that I'm going to be looking at and decide, okay, you can go, or you can't go. So that will be a joint effort with the missions committee. I did not put out the applications out here for you to just take because obviously not everybody in this room already is not going to be eligible, some of you for age. But if after you have prayed about this, or maybe you've already been praying about it and you're ready to take the application, I do have the applications here for you to fill out. And I will want those back from you by December the 14th. It's the second Sunday in second or third Sunday, I can't remember how the dates run out, but December the 14th. And that will give us an opportunity for the missions committee to start looking at the applications, and then Daniel will be home during that time as well, and try to kind of give you some feedback about there. So, if you haven't already, please be praying about whether God is actually leading you to be a part of this mission team. We will have meetings starting in January. We'll have about 6 to 18 meetings, and these will be times for us to prepare ourselves for the mission that we'll be doing, and we'll be having prayer time. Some of these later on will be actually preparing materials. Like, I don't know right now what our mission projects are going to be. We'll talk about that just in a second. But some different things that we could be doing, but we'll be preparing for the ministry, because we don't want to just go down there unprepared. We want to have some of that done ahead of time. We'll be doing some team building activities. We'll be doing some fundraising projects. The missions committee got permission from the deacon body to be able to do some fundraisers. We don't usually do fundraisers at Northside, but we have got permission to do that. And Tree has had some great ideas for fundraisers, and some of the missions committee people have. And so hopefully not all of the cost is going to rest on your shoulders. Hopefully we'll be able to have some help from the church to be able to help you with the funding of that. But you will be responsible for helping with these fundraisers and stuff. There are some deadlines that I have set up based on the information that I have right now. And these deadlines are based on what we've got to do as far as our Envision fee deadline for signing up and registering, and then for our airplane tickets. I'm going to be working with a travel agent who works with church mission trips to work on this and with our tickets. And so that first deposit has to do with our Envision wire, that $130. We have to pay out a down payment for each person that registers to go on the trip. And that is non-refundable. So all these deposits are going to be non-refundable. So if once we have to pay this out to airplane tickets and that sort of thing, then we're not going to be able to get that back. So that will go, we'll just put it toward the mission, or if it's plane tickets or something, we can't do anything about that. The plane tickets, I imagine that we'll probably be purchasing around the 1st of March, and so therefore your February 400 and your March 400, if something happened before we bought those plane tickets, then we might be able to refund that back to you, because we haven't purchased the tickets. But once we purchase the tickets, we cannot refund that back to you, because we're not going to get it back either. And then the other funds would just be to help with the rest of the Envision fee, which has to be paid up no later than 60 days before we arrive. We have to have the full amount to Envision. So that's why those deadlines where the deposits are set up there. And we'll work out something with Mary Beth about how we feed the money into a certain fund for this and all that. Some of the samples of ministry projects, we could possibly do a VBS. We could do church partnership evangelism, where we would pair up with a local church down there. We would have a translator, and we would go into a community and basically go door to door. The El Salvadorans think of Americans as movie stars down there. They are anxious to hear our story. So they are very open to hearing about our testimonies and how we receive Christ, and to hear about Jesus. And then once, if people accept Christ, they have a big celebration thing on Thursday night, and they pair these people up with the local church so that discipleship continues after we go home and we're no longer there. The local church has them and helps them to be able to grow in their Christian faith, and so that they don't fall back into the life before that. There are some other things that we could possibly be doing. How they do this with Envision is they find out what the gifts are and the abilities are of the group that comes down there. And so we'll be looking at those kind of things, and then they will kind of hand design what we will be doing down there. And it could be that we'll be doing more than one thing. We might be doing a vacation Bible school in the morning. We might be doing something else in the afternoon, partnership evangelism. If we have anybody that's related to construction and they have a lot of construction needs there, then we could be helping with that. What we will plan to do is, when we find out more about what we're going to be doing, I'm going to be enlisting some team leaders who will kind of be like in charge of that. Like you don't want me in charge of construction. So if we were going to go and help do some construction needs there, I would appoint a person going with us that would be overseeing that. And so I will not plan to do all of this on my own. We will certainly have different jobs for each of us. Conditions to expect. I'm not going to read this word for word, but you've got all that there. But basically, I just kind of hit a couple of 3 or 4 really important things that you probably need to think about as you're considering about this going. I've talked about the temperatures being in the 90s with no air conditioning. And so I re-said that. Did I mention that it would be very hot? Okay. There are volcanoes. There's a volcano will be right there in the city where we are. It's been inactive since about 1911. But there was a volcano that erupted when we were down there at Christmas. And there's been another one that's erupted since then. There are lots and lots of volcanoes. A lot of them are inactive. I'm not trying to tell you this stuff to scare you, but I feel like you ought to know what you're getting into when you go down there. They have earthquakes. Daniel and I were emailing back and forth about something that we were trying to take care of just by email a couple weeks ago, and all of a sudden he's not answering back with the email when we've been going back and forth. And about 30 minutes later, he comes back on. He said, "We just had an earthquake." And we found out the next morning in the news, and he found out too. It was a 7.4 earthquake. And so when that happened, he stopped and he went and he couldn't get out of the building at the time, but he went and got in the doorway and braced all the things they tell you to do in school. You really do those things. So they do have earthquakes down there. The gangs, there's quite a bit of gang activity there. It's not the safest country in the world to be in, but we do have a security guard that will be outside the mission with us, and we will be told do's and don'ts about what to do. I cannot emphasize enough that when we start setting up guidelines of do's and don'ts, those are very important. We don't need to consider taking anybody with us that has a problem with submitting, and so we'll talk about that more and stuff as we go. There'll be a strict dress code because of the culture down there. You're not allowed, even guys are not allowed to have shorts or anything above your knees. So for ladies, for us, it's going to be like capris or long pants and that sort of thing. And I know it's hot, but that's what the people do down there. They wear long pants mostly down there. But for us, we are not allowed to have anything higher than, our knees. So I don't tell you all this stuff to make you not want to go, because as I put up here, the people of El Salvador need to know about God's love. And if we have really prepared ourselves spiritually and emotionally and physically to be able to do this, God will not take us anywhere that he will not bring us through. And so if we are prayed up and we are really seeking his will and reading his word and helping to prepare us with all those things that Brother Kevin shared in his message today about the fruits of the Spirit and all those kinds of things. And we'll be prepared to go and face whatever may come our way when we're down there. So I put some things on here that you can do as you think about this trip to El Salvador. So pray, pray, pray. And if you don't want to take a mission trip application today, I'll have them. If you want to continue to pray about that more and then want to come back and say, okay, I think I'm ready to take one of those, you can take one today if you feel like you're ready to do that. I did list some websites there so you can learn a little bit more about El Salvador and the mission work down there, and also just some travel information. And I've listed some things about, what we need to do once you're accepted and that sort of thing. But the biggest thing I can ask you to do right now is to pray, pray, pray. So I don't want to hold you right now because it is longer than 15 minutes. Sorry about that. But if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer any of those. I put my email address on there, so if you even want to email me if questions come up, you're welcome.